Hello and welcome back to Worm Watts, where we harness the God-given power of compost worms to transform organic waste into amazing living fertilizer. So we are going back through the bins that we have, and today we're going through this bin that has yet to be named, but it's one of the founding bins. There are two original bins of European Nightcrawlers that I started with, and this is one of those two. And I'm really excited to get into it. It's been several months. I think it's been about 5 or 6 months since we were last in this bin, and we fed it quite a bit of bokashi fermented food product. So looking forward to seeing how that goes, or how that's gone. Last time it was full of cardboard and lots of brown materials, so we'll get to see if those have broken down any. And I'm really excited to show you what I'm referring to as a landmark food that's in this bin. And I will explain more when we get to it. But without further ado, let's hop in. You can see a lot of what look to be fly carcasses on the top, so there's been some activity. Oh my, look at that. This bin was full, absolutely full of chaff and cardboard and well, actually, I'm not sure if I put chaff in here, but well, actually, it does it actually looks like I put chaff in here. So yeah, this bin was full of chaff, cardboard. You can see that there are some holdover flies here. They've been, I guess, trying to make do on what they can, and so as we look in here, you can see that just about everything is broken down. So this time period of waiting 6 months, 5 to 6 months to check in on the bin obviously results in everything being consumed. I've got a worm here on the surface. Looks like it's just kind of chilling there. Oh, there it goes. So, got the gloves on. This is very moist, as you can tell, and you can see the worms actually recede as we pull away these upper layers. So, I'm actually gonna just take this off and use my hands. It just gives me a better feel for where the bin is at. But yeah, there are definitely some flies in here. This is some more muddy texture, but not too bad. It's distinct enough that like you can pick it up and play with it, like it's almost like a putty. Maybe like Play-Doh would be the, so it's malleable. You can move it around in your hands, but it doesn't stick, which is really, really neat. I love that. So this bin is actually in a really good spot. We might be able to harvest this here fairly soon, just with where the castings are. So I'm really happy with that. And it's just incredible to see the job that they've done. You can see the flies over there along the edge, playing along the side. And here's what I was referring to when I refer to landmark foods. So as you can tell, the entire bin has really broken down quite a bit. And I'm starting to get into the habit of trying to add to every bin some materials like this. This is a, whoa, look at that. Wow. So wow, there's actually quite a bit of moisture down there. Quite a few worms. Wow. And that is definitely sticky. So, goodness, we've got eggshell down there. It's really fascinating to see how this upper layer, they've evened it out, so you can tell when the worms have really devoured something, you'll see that the castings are a nice even layer. But wow, look at this. This is incredible. So you've got the worms actually still on this piece of wood and probably enjoying the fungal matter, I would hope. But the reason that I call this a landmark food is because it is such a slowly decomposing food item. Whoa, that it's going to be here for quite a while. And with that, you just saw, I just broke off this outer portion of the bark of this. But I mean, this is hard wood. So yeah, it's going to be around for a while, but it's fascinating to see it break down. And so the reason that I refer to this as a landmark is that even as we see the faster foods, so things like the bokashi product, like fruit, like vegetable scraps, even as we see those seemingly vanish in relatively short order, this is going to be around for a while. In one of my other bins, I added in some coconut shell, which I also expect to be around for a while. So those kind of things really help us to see what the overall speed at which the bin breaks those kind of things down is, and just gives us an idea of how quickly the decomposition is going for those kinds of slower decomposing materials. So really fascinating. Wow. As you press on this, I just love the fact that the moisture over time is really helping to break down this wood. I'm wondering how long it's going to take for that whole piece of wood to fully break down, but it's really fascinating. And you can see that a good portion of this has been submerged in kind of a very moist environment. Right here, you can tell how moist that is. And down at the bottom, we've even got standing liquid. So I'm going to have to add something else to this bin. I may go ahead and just add some chaff in here and just fill it up with chaff. Yeah, we're gonna need to add something to go ahead and help that dry out down there. But I'm very happy with where these castings are. So I may hold off on adding the chaff, and I may come back at a later date and just try to extract some of the castings that are near the surface, and then add in the chaff or whatever brown product we use, whether that's chaff, whether that's dry leaves. I may try to use that for the remainder, to help dry up the remainder. But wow, look at that. So really neat to see this bin. I'm still trying to work on a name for it, but I'm really happy with where this bin is. Thank you for joining me in terms of just seeing this. Thank you for following as we discuss these landmark foods that have been in here and kind of help us to see how the long-term breakdown of some of these really tough brown materials is going. This is such a fascinating bin, and I'm glad we've been able to come back and explore it. So obviously we'll continue to keep up with this bin and with the others. As you can see in here, in addition to just the flies, we also have an esteemed guest here. Looks to be a spider. So nice to have somebody trying to help in the showdown with the flies. But really neat to see. You can see that this outer layer is probably coming off all over this this piece of log here, and it's a pretty thick piece. I did not didn't cut it something small. So with that, we'll go ahead and close this up. I'm not going to add any brown materials, but before I go though, I may add some crushed eggshell just to the top. And the crushed eggshell we add for grit. Just helps the worms to be able to break down some of their food. So we'll just add that for now. I'm not trying to add too much. And I'm hoping to be back in this bin here shortly. I would really like to harvest and then be able to gift that harvested vermicompost to my local roaster. So he's been so faithful to supply me with this coffee chaff, which has worked out as a really great compostable brown material. So I love to be able to share the fruits of the worm's labors whenever we're able to. Thanks so much for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.